Hey guys, this is Paleoman52. Just wanted to show you my latest creation here. My Basalt blade Hemlock handle. I'm going to talk about the materials I used and a little bit about the wood, because the wood is really quite interesting. But to start out, I was out here yesterday and I started out with a block like about this big here. This is pure basalt. Now we know basalt pretty much is lava when it flows out of a volcano. That's a pretty good chunk here. And to get that to that, there's a lot of flake removals. As you see, there's some of the smaller ones, but these are some of the bigger flakes that I can use for some points or small knives. So to start out, I started out with this hammerstone right here. You can see the wear on this thing. So if you guys find hammerstones when you're out looking in the fields, this is a real good indication that it was used, because you can see the pecking where it contacted the other stone. And I used that hammerstone pretty much to get these bigger flakes. Now these flakes are perfect for making some real nice points out of. You know, they're relatively thin, pretty straight for the most part, and got a good bunch here. And once I used the hammerstone to do that, and I've thinned out enough pieces, as you see here, then I'll change over to a heavy billet. Now this is a piece of moose antler. This is heavier than most moose billets that I would normally use making a piece, but for some reason basalt likes heavy tools, and it flakes very well, surprisingly. So after a series of that with that tool there, then I end up with something that looks similar to this. This is a big basalt knife that I chipped out. I haven't done anything with this, but I've chipped it out, and I guess it's waiting to turn into something. I haven't quite decided yet what it'll be. So anyway, once I get to that stage, then I'll use a smaller billet, and I reduce the size greatly. This one, as you can see, in comparison, is a lot littler than that big guy there. Okay, so now I've got the preform done, which is this here. Then I'll use a pressure flaking tool with a pad and an abrading stone, and hopefully get something like this here. Now, what's interesting about this is the wood that I use. Here's some of the pieces that I have available, and you're going to think to yourself that, well, you know, what's so great about this wood? Well, it's pretty special, and you really can't get it anywhere other than this one friend of mine who happens to have a small supply of it, and that's because this wood here came from his backyard. He lives along the Genesee River, and he found this over the embankment where the river borders his property. One spring, after a heavy runoff, he went and checked the bank. He'd lost about 30-foot height by about maybe 70-80 foot long section of bank in his backyard. And when he looked at the bottom where the river had undermined it, he noticed that there was some trees sticking out that he'd never seen before. Of course, this section of the area was never exposed before. So his living is to go around the country repairing microscopes for college universities, and he happened to know of some places to get wood tested for age. So he cut off some samples of it, and he dropped them off as he was making his rounds, and he got the results back, and the wood came out to be 1,510 years old, give or take 20 years either way, which is astounding, because the wood is actually still very usable. You can tell what type it is. This was some hemlock. I've made other things out of this wood, but I thought it'd be kind of neat to make the handle and the stand for this knife out of it. I'm kind of losing my sun here a little bit. I have to chase it around a little bit. Here we go. You can see how beautiful the wood is. Now there's no finish on that other than I just rubbed beeswax into it and heated it and rubbed it. The stand is also made out of a piece of the 1500-year-old wood, and I used a couple pieces of antler to act as support for the knife. So this is my latest project, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of seeing this, and come out really good. You can see the blade is, if I get it in the sun here, it's flaked pretty decently. It's nice and thin, but it just looks so nice being made out of that old wood. So that's definitely a one of a kind. So I hope you enjoyed this little video and checked out my latest creation. I just want to thank all of you for watching my channel and subscribing, and there'll be more videos coming down the road in the near future.